Hello everyone, welcome to the next video of our series 46 year previous year question of Indian economy. In this series, we are discussing all the prelims question of Indian economy from the year 1979 to 2024. And we have classified this question into 5 parts. We started with the unit number 5, tertiary sector of Indian economy, and we have already done 3 videos in this series, and this is the 4th video. So if you have already not watched this video, please go ahead and look in the playlist where you can watch all the remaining 3 videos where we started Indian economy from 1979, and this is the next video, part 4 of the same series. So let's begin. Another question from the year 2006. Consider the following statement. The oldest insurance company in India is not Life Insurance Corporation. Therefore, this statement is incorrect. It is actually National Insurance Company Limited, which is the oldest company in India. Therefore, your option 1 is wrong. So you can eliminate option 1 here, and you're left with 2 statements which are correct. So this is the right answer. Let's look at the date. The oldest existing insurance company in India is National Insurance Company, which was founded in year 1906. So that was all about that question. Now let's look at this question from the year 2007. The repo rate, 2 statement here. The repo rate is the rate at which other banks borrow from the Reserve Bank of India. तो रेपो रेट एक ऐसी रेट है जिस पर बाकी बैंक रिजर्व बैंक इंडिया से बोरो करते हैं. दैट इज योर फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट. Statement 2, a value of 1 for Gini coefficient in a country implies that there is a perfectly equal income for everyone in the population. So important concept here of Gini coefficient. Now, if you have gone through your money and banking unit and read about central bank, repo rate indeed is the rate at which various banks can borrow from Reserve Bank of India by way of collateral. So they give out securities which they need to buy back later. So your statement, this is correct. And a value of 1 for Gini coefficient in a country implies there is a perfectly equal income for everyone in its population. Actually, Gini coefficient varies from 0 to 1, and 1 implies perfect inequality where one person owns almost all the wealth of the country. Therefore, this statement is wrong here. And your correct option is option. Let's go through the Gini coefficient. So Gini coefficient, as you know, is calculated on this chart. Here you have a line, right? This line. And Gini coefficient, look at the area in this part of the curve divided by the total area, which is represented by A and B. So if A divided by total area of A plus B, that is your Gini coefficient. And we can see here how if there is proportional increase in the wealth as the cumulative population increases, you have Gini coefficient which is 0 and you have perfect equality. On the other hand, if the area in this section of A is very high, let's imagine that it stretches down to here. A is very high and A plus B is almost equal to A, which has probably the value of B is 0, right? Then you have a situation where there is a total inequality, which means one person owns almost everything. So you can see that there is no increase in your income as we move from cumulative population here. So I think it is less visible here. If you look at this one, this is where you can see that if there is an increase in population but the cumulative income is not rising, then you can see how it is unequal. And then ultimately there is a position where the area under A is as good as A plus B, right? And there's no increase in income till here, and suddenly when the last person, this income sort of goes up. So you can remember that is a total inequality situation. You can sort of remember that which is 1 Gini coefficient is 1, then one person on everything, and that way you will be able to remember that that is a total inequality, right? So that was the correct answer, that value of 1 for Gini coefficient means perfect equal. No, it is unequal. So that was the question. Now let's look at this question from the year 2007. The National Housing Bank was set up in India as a wholly owned subsidiary of which one of the following? तो NHB जो कि हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनीज को रीफाइनेंसिंग फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड करती है और रेगुलेट भी करती है, वो इनमें से किस इंस्टीट्यूशन की होली ऑन सब्सिडी की सेटअप की गई थी? Option A, State Bank of India. Option B, Reserve Bank of India. Option C, ICICI Bank. And option D, Life Insurance Corporation of India. Now, we have already done a question on National Housing Bank. So you know the question, please write it in the comment section. So I'm waiting for you to write the answer. So the correct answer is here, Reserve Bank of India. It was set up as a wholly owned subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India. Right? So your correct option is B. Now, let's look at this question from 2009. Which one of the following pair is not correctly matched? So please be attention that it is not correctly matched what is being asked. So here you have the country and the stock index of that country. Japan, Nikkei, Singapore, SHOMP, UK, FTSE, USA, NASDAQ. So if you follow, stock market, etc., you must have heard about NASDAQ, and it is a index from the USA. It is, technology heavy. So all your Google and Amazon and Meta, etc., listed on the stock exchange. They have a higher weightage. So this is correctly matched. Then you have UK FC Financial, FTSE, that is also correct. Japan, Nikkei, that is also correct. Singapore and SHOMP is not the correct option. So I knew about these three, and therefore I came into that. I'm going to mark B as my answer. Now the correct answer here is B, because SHOMP is in stock index in Shanghai. So it is a Chinese stock index. Singapore, on the other hand, has its own index, which is SIN. B is the right answer. Let's look at this question from the year 2010. Which of the following terms indicate a mechanism used by commercial bank for providing credit to the government? तो इन चार ऑप्शन में से ऐसा कौन सा मैकेनिज्म है जिसके थ्रू कमर्शियल बैंक गवर्नमेंट को क्रेडिट प्रोवाइड करते हैं? ऑप्शन ए, कैश रिजर्व. ऑप्शन बी, डेट सर्विस ऑब्लिगेशन. ऑप्शन सी, liquidity adjustment facility, and option D, statutory liquidity ratio. Now, if you have read your unit of banking, you will know that cash reserve ratio is the amount of cash which commercial bank need to keep with RBI. So this is the proportion of deposit which bank need to keep with RBI in cash. Therefore, it is not going to the government. So option A is wrong. Debt service obligation. It is, the obligation to pay debt for any corporate. It has nothing to do with providing credit to the government. That is also liquidity adjustment facility. If you have studied about central bank in India, liquidity adjustment facility is the facility through which RBI provides liquidity to commercial bank. It includes repo and reverse repo. This is also wrong. Statutory liquidity ratio. This is the proportion of deposit which bank need to keep in high quality liquid assets, which include cash, it includes gold, and it also includes government bond. So this is, cash, gold, and government security. And when commercial bank buy government security, they provide credit to the government. Therefore, your correct option is option D, which is liquidity ratio. I hope cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio, both the concepts are clear. They are very important for your money and banking unit from Indian economy. Now, here we have a question from the year 2010. Let's read the question and the statement, and then we will discuss the answer. With reference to national banking finance companies in India, consider the following statement from the year 2010. Statement 1. They cannot engage in acquisition of security issued by government. Why? Why not? Statement 2. They cannot accept demand deposit like saving account. Now, when I have taught money, this unit on money banking, I have clearly explained that the NBFC indeed cannot accept demand deposit like saving account and current account. They cannot do this. Therefore, this statement is correct. They cannot engage in acquisition of securities issued by government. Why? They indeed can buy securities issued by government. They buy, and it is a perfectly legitimate business objective which they can pursue. Therefore, your option A1, statement 1 is wrong, and hence your correct option becomes option B, which is 2 only. Let's read this question from the year 2007 from the capital market unit. In the parlance of financial investment, the term bear denotes bear. Option A, an investor who feels that the price of a particular security is going to fall. एक ऐसा इन्वेस्टर जिसको लगता है किसी सिक्योरिटी का प्राइस गिरने वाला है. Option B, an investor who expects the price of a particular share to rise. ये उसका exactly opposite है कि एक particular share का price बढ़ने वाला है. A share, option C, a shareholder or bondholder who has an interest in the company, financial or otherwise. तो एक shareholder जिसका company में interest है, bondholder के साथ. Any lender, whether by making loan or buying a bond. The correct option here is your option A, and I will explain why the investors are called bulls and bear. The investor who expect the price of security or the market to go up are called bull. Why? Do you know why? The answer is because when a bull hits you, he hits you with his horn. So when the bull hits someone, it tends to throw up. The person will go up. In the same way, the investor who will enter in the market and he is a bull, he will buy the share and the shares will go up. So if you expect the share price to go up, you are a bull, right? Correct? On the other hand, there are people who expect market to fall. They are called bear. Why? Because when the bear catches anyone, he hits people like that. So he pulls people or any organism, maybe animal also, down. Therefore, people who expect price to go down are called bear. A little, sort of terminology, interesting terminology from the stock market here. I hope this is clear now. So, as we saw, going to fall is option A, which is your correct option. Let's look at another question from the year 2010. In India, the interest rate on saving account in all the nationalized commercial bank is fixed by. तो nationalized commercial bank में जो saving account की interest rate है, वो कौन fix करता है? A, Union Ministry of Finance. B, Union Finance Commission. C, Indian Bank Association. Option D, none of the. Now we will solve this question assuming this is happening, this is a question in year 2024. Right now, the saving account interest rate is set by individual bank, right? Therefore, in this case, your correct answer will be none of the above. However, prior to, some years ago, 2011 to be precise, it was actually fixed by Reserve Bank of India. Even in that case, our correct option remains D, none of the above. However, in 2011, RBI sort of deregulated it, and now the bank themselves can set this independently without having to seek permission from RBI. Now let's look at this question with reference to institution of banking ombudsman in India. Which of the statement is not correct from the year 2010? State option A. The banking, we have to look at not correct. The banking ombudsman is appointed by Reserve Bank of India. That is your option A. The banking ombudsman can consider complaints from non-resident Indian having account in India. Right? Option C. The order passed by banking ombudsman are final and binding on the parties concerned. The service provided by banking ombudsman is free of any charge. Now, if you know that if you have any complaint about the service provided by banks and also NBFC, etc., you can complain to the banking ombudsman, and it is indeed correct that the banking ombudsman is appointed by Reserve Bank of India. So this is your correct. The banking ombudsman can consider complaint from the non-resident India having account in India. This is logical because if someone has an account in India, they should be able to complain. So this is also correct. The order passed by banking ombudsman are final and binding on the parties concerned. So that we'll look at this. The service provided by banking ombudsman free of any fee. This is also correct. Actually, the order passed by banking ombudsman can be appealed with RBI. So you can go ahead, whatever the order has been passed by the banking ombudsman, and appeal that with RBI. So that is your incorrect. So we are looking at not correct, and your correct option will be C. So that is your correct option. Let's look at the details. The banking ombudsman scheme is an expeditious and inexpensive forum for bank customer for resolution of complaint relating to services by the bank. A person aggrieved by decision of banking ombudsman can approach appellate authority. The appellate authority is vested by the deputy governor of the RBI. So we saw that we can indeed appeal the decision taken by banking ombudsman with the appellate authority. And who is the appellate authority? Deputy governor of the RBI. Now let's look at this question from the year 2010. With reference to India, consider the following. Number 1, nationalization of bank. Number 2, formation of regional rural bank. Number 3, adoption of village by bank branches. Which of the following can be considered as steps taken to achieve the financial inclusion? Financial inclusion is an important topic in banking and finance unit. And when I taught this unit, I have clearly explained that nationalization of bank was done to make sure that the citizen of the country get the services of banking. Because prior to nationalization, the banks were owned by private sector and they were only serving urban affluent section where they could make profit. So this is your correct statement. Formation of regional rural bank. Regional rural bank were set up by the central government, state government in collaboration with nationalized bank to serve the rural areas to fulfill the need for banking and credit. This is also correct. Adoption of village by bank branches. So this is about how village were adopted by banks so that an individual bank and their branches were responsible for providing villages banking services, and this is also correct. Therefore, your correct option is D. This is correct. Let's look at this question from the year 2010. Consider the following statement. The function of commercial bank in India include. Commercial bank के function India में क्या include होता है? Purchase and sale of shares and securities on behalf of customer. Well, they can do that if that's what customer want. Acting as executor and trustees of will. Acting as executor and trustee of will. तो अगर किसी ने will बनाई है तो वो उसको ट्रस्टी की तरह काम कर सकते हैं, एक्सिक्यूट भी कर सकते हैं, and this is also actually correct. Right? So both of the statement mentioned here are correct. And which of the following statements are correct? Both of them are correct. So the correct option is C. Now let's look at miscellaneous function of commercial bank in India include transfer and collection of funds, purchase and sale of shares on behalf of customers, acting as executor, यानी bill को execute करना, transfer of the bill, right? Purchase and sale of shares. So these are also function. This is a little something which you may not have known. So I want you to note this down, that the banks can act trustees and executor of the bill. Let's look at this question from the 2010. The International Development Association, a lending agency, is administered by. Now, International Development Association, lending agency, इसको administer कौन करता है? Option A, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. That is your option A. Option B, International Fund for Agriculture Development. Option C, United Nations Development Program. And option D, United Nations Industrial Development Organization. Now, if you have studied World Bank, it is an important international body which you need to study. If you have studied about World Bank, that you would know that it has different organs like International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and it is this agency which administers the International Development Association. So let's look into more details. International Development Association is that part of World Bank that helps the world's poorest country. It complements the World Bank's other lending arm, the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which serves middle income countries with capital investment advisory. So IDA was created in 1960 and it helps the world's poorest country, right? So that is the detail we need to know to solve this question. And here the correct option is option A, which is IBRT. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with the fifth part of this video series. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button so that you continue to get update when we upload the next video. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next time.